morning. So it's the final day of voting in the Spindatt Trasher Bash competition 2022, and please, if you haven't already, just go to the Spindatt website. The link is in the description, and click my name and click vote. I'd really appreciate your vote. I've been building this bike for 5 months. It's been a long this competition has basically taken over my life for almost half a year, because I was sourcing parts for about a month before the start of the competition too. And yeah, it's turned out so much more than I thought it would. I mean, the plan was there, but you know, none of these intricate details were actually planned at the start. The mudguard wasn't planned, the rando bag wasn't planned, the Gascoigne headset wasn't planned, the bell, you know, the 1930s style tire driven bell that clicks on and off with the shifter, that wasn't planned. You know, all these little gold bits, they weren't planned. The gold cassette, that wasn't planned. So the general design plan was there. The height ride wasn't even planned. I didn't even know what a height ride was before this competition. So the general plan was there, but this competition has pushed me way out of my comfort zone and really enabled me to create something which I think is super special. Thank you to everybody that's voted already. Please do go and vote. It's the last day today. The results are going to be announced tomorrow on April the 30th, 2022. And yeah, I just wanted to reflect on the build and the time spent in the competition for a couple of minutes and say thank you to everybody that's already voted. Yeah, there was some really cool people and some cool bikes in this competition, and I wasn't even going to enter. I would hazard a guess that I was the last person to get my application into the competition. Only Eric would be able to vouch for that, but my wife basically gave me the weekend free because she knew how much it meant to me to get into this competition. So she looked after my boys for the whole weekend, and I spent that whole time doing a video and preparing a decent application. Fortunately, Eric was kind enough to see some promise in me and thought that there was potential there, and this is what we've ended up with. It's insane. It's totally insane that this is what I've been able to create, basically because I've been pushed by the competition to come up with new ideas and yeah, just think outside the box. If anybody else has the opportunity to enter an event or a competition that enables them to showcase their creativity and pushes you to step your game up, then I definitely urge you to, even though it's scary, get your entry in and put yourself out there in the world. And that's something that I haven't done for many years, and this competition has enabled me to break out of my own little world and start interacting with other like-minded people. Part of the reason I did a giveaway a while back was it just enabled me to talk to people on a direct message through Instagram, and I got loads of cool ideas through that, and people were sharing their bikes, and it's been a great community to get more involved in. Yeah, please do go and vote. Like I said, the link there is in the description under this video, and it would be mega appreciated. I'm now going to play in a couple of minutes the final update video that I created for the bike with like the first ride footage, which was taken at Derwent and Howden reservoirs, which is like where Ladybow Reservoir is in the Peak District in England. It was a beautiful day, nice and sunny, just the perfect day for riding the bike and testing it out, and it performed admirably. It was really, really cool. It was just a wicked ride, and the competition's been a wicked ride. So thank you to everyone who's followed along here on YouTube, on my Instagram, and I wanted to let you know that there will be some exciting builds coming in the future straight away. Anybody that's seen on Instagram what I've been up to might have seen this frame. So I've got to know a really, really cool guy called Paul, who's a prominent figure
in the retro mountain bike community, and he's become a good friend over the last few months. But this bike frame is from him. It's a 1991 Specialized Hardrock, and yeah, this will be the next build on the channel. I've already got some super cool bits. So I've got the tyres that I'm going to be using. These are Specialized Pro Rolex Race 26 by 2.0 tyres. So I think having that Specialized Pro logo around the tyres is going to really look cool. Another thing I've got, I'll be continuing to colour coordinate things, and these are Transex Zanzibar bars in purple, which came with the donor bike when I bought this competition build frame. I have bought a shim there that's in blue to convert the handlebar diameter from 25.4 to 31.8 millimeters, so it'll fit a normal 31.8 stem, a modern stem, and I'll be using a cool stem adapter like I did with the competition bike. This paint effect, this splatter effect, actually Paul's done this himself based on old shovels technique. So yeah, it looks epic. He's kind of repaired all of the rust that was on the frame before I bought it off him. So yeah, really exciting projects to come. And yeah, I hope you enjoy my final update video now, and fingers crossed for tomorrow for the results. But whatever happens, there'll be tons of awesome bike content to come on the channel. Thanks again, and here's my update. See ya.
It started with a frame and an idea. Just a cheap frame like any half-decent Facebook marketplace find. The plan? To create a gravel bike that looks a bit like a Scotfoil road bike from a 1989 steel Diamondback. I had big ambitions, but basic tools. So I sought wisdom from RJ the bike guy and employed brute force and ignorance to get the project moving. There were some dark moments. Mistakes were made, and some parts put up a fight. But in the end... well, I think you'll agree I nailed it! Apologies, I think I was possessed by a mixture of Batman and Marv from Sin City there, but my throat really hurts now, so I think I'll revert back to my normal voice and we'll go through what I've been up to since the last update. So I finally got around to building the Woody's Fender style mudguard for the back of the bike out of wood, which basically involved haphazardly sawing this 2400mm length of pine that I got from B&Q into sections. This pine cost me £6 for the length, and it's 46mm wide and 4mm thick, and I ended up cutting it to half this length in the end and only using 2 layers because it was very tough to bend. I didn't have any metal G-clamps, so I used these plastic clamps that I had and an old wheel to try and get the shape of clamping it around the wheel, but the clamps weren't strong enough, so in the end I ended up using gaffer tape or duct tape really tight to get the shape that I wanted. With basic DIY store wood glue between the middle 2 layers, and the top layer and the bottom layer were basically sacrificial because they got covered in tape. After 32 hours I took the tape off and had to use a penknife to split the different pieces of wood apart because the glue had got all the way around the edge, and I knew I was going to sand the edges, so it wasn't too much of a concern, but it was worrying that I might just end up wrecking exactly what I've just spent 32 hours creating. I then spent ages sanding it into a shape I was happy with by smoothing it over the edges and tapering the end of it using this detail sander that I'd borrowed from a friendly neighbour. I used this Dulux cherrywood wood sheen because it was for exterior use, and it said it was for weatherproofing wood. Also, the colour looked ideal for what I was going to be doing. It wasn't too dark. I basically just applied one thick coat all over because I wanted to be able to still see the grain of the wood, and also I didn't want it to go too much darker
than the tan colour that I've got on the bike. But in the end, I was really happy with the colour that I achieved. I had this knockoff Halford's own brand Ass Saver, which I decided to superglue to the underside of the mudguard to keep the black and tan theme going. I used this Loctite 60-second all-purpose glue, which did say it was for wood and plastic. I did have to cut a load of little bits off the Ass Saver to make it fit between the seat stays, which you can see at the front of this clip. I then just applied the glue all the way down the centre of the Ass Saver and stuck it on. Fortunately, I cut it to the right length, so it's about the same length as the mudguard itself, and then just kept applying pressure evenly all the way along the whole mudguard, which seemed to finish off being quite a good finish, and the edges of it still bend, which means you can get it through the seat stays and into position. Then it was just a case of drilling a few holes in it and selecting the right M6 size nuts and bolts and a few washers to make sure that I could fit 2 angle brackets to hold it securely in place. I did have to cut the tops off the angle brackets just so they were shorter on one side, which gave it a more finished look. And there you have it, a custom Woody's Fenders style pine and plastic rear mudguard. I love it. You can still see the grain in the wood here, and I've even left this one knot in the wood to give it that extra bit of feature, which I filled with wood glue, so it's perfectly fine. Yeah, cost me about £12 in total this, so I think it's well worth it. In the last update video, I asked you for ideas for a patch or patches to put on the front of this custom rando bag that my wife and I made. Pretty much the most popular idea in the comments was to put the actual competition name onto the front of the bag. So while I was messing about with the rear mudguard, my wife has kindly ironed on Spindatt Trasher Bash 2022, and I think she's done an awesome job. The photos you're seeing here from my first ride out on the fully finished bike, and the eagle-eyed amongst you may have noticed that I've used some of the leftover pine from the mudguard to make a shadow stand. Anyway, here's the footage from that ride.
So I'm just going to head out for the first section of road with the gravel tyres with the Billy Bonkers on. We'll see how fast we can get to the end of this 5-ish mile road section. So I'll start my watch.
Yeah, I've got 2 full water bottles and the sort of skate shoes and normal flat pedals on.
So yeah, let's go. So this is as far as the road goes. The bike's done well. So yeah, a nice ride along the edge of the water, and it took me 21 minutes. So we'll see, after going and doing the gravel section over there, how long it takes in road mode. So before we find out if road pedals and tyres are actually any faster at all, let's go through the build spec of this bike to remind ourselves of all the different components that have created it. It's a custom painted 1989 Diamondback Ascent frame set. It's a SRAM 1x10 speed drivetrain with a SRAM Rival 42 tooth single ring at the front and a VG Sports 11 through 42 tooth cassette at the back. We're running a SRAM Apex 1 clutched rear derailleur, Schwalbe Billy Bonkers 26 by 2.1 inch tyres, shark fin chainstay protector, KCNC gold valve caps and Halo Allen key head skewers. KMC gold chain, Tetro CR720 cantilever brakes, custom built rear wooden mudguard, Breeze and Angel height right dropper system, Arundel saddlebag, Synchro's Tofino tan and black saddle, gold Chris King grip nut headset, machined down on a lathe to fit a standard 1-inch head tube. We've got a quill stem adapter and a custom gold top cap. BMC gravel stem, Pro Discover flared bars wrapped in Chinelli Mike Giant bar tape with SRAM Rival shifters, with the left-hand shifter, which is redundant on a 1x system, linked up to a tyre-driven 1930 style bell, with a custom rando bag sitting on 8-bar Santa Fixie pizza rack.
After the gravel section, I got back to the car and swapped out the Schwalbe Billy Bonkers gravel style tyres for the Schwalbe CityJet more kind of commuter road tyres.
So because of the road pedals, I've swapped over to road shoes, and we've got the Look Keo compatible cleats on. Everything's kind of just set up on the side of the road, so we'll see if it runs smoothly. It took exactly the same amount of time, 21 minutes. But to say I'm pretty knackered, I'm pretty tired out after riding so much, and I think maybe it would be slightly faster, but nothing to write home about. My plan now is definitely put the Billy Bonkers back on, unless this becomes a pure commuter, in which case I'd probably go with the CityJets, but still with flat pedals. I don't think there's any need for road pedals on a gravel bike. I've got to say, in road and gravel mode, it's so fun to ride. It's just cruisy. There's no other word really for me than cruisy. It just glides, you know? There's things with like the harsh ride of a road bike with the skinny tyres, and the slowness of a sort of hardtail with its really, really wide sort of 2.3 knobbly tyres. And it's just somewhere in the middle, isn't it? A gravel bike, especially one that's made from a 1989 steel frame. I've had a great day, and I hope that you'll vote for me and my 1989 Diamondback Ascent.